What's up, cats? Let's just get it out of the way. I think we all know the primary argument against going to Foss School of Music. There's a lot of pros of going to Foss, weighed down by one massive con. But do they balance out? Essentially. Probably the biggest advantage of going to Foss School of Music is the talent you're surrounded by. No matter the program, the studio jazz writing program has seen graduates go on to become film composers, staff arrangers for the US Air Force, and VTubers. The media scoring and production program has seen graduates write for Emmy-nominated miniseries and upcoming Nintendo games. We apparently have one of the best tuba studios in the entire country. It's very motivating to be around so many people that care about improvement as much as you do, until you need to find a practice room. But don't worry, there's also an outside practicing area that's usable for maybe 5 to 6 months of the year. But with so many amazing musicians and writers, you can just ask people to explain things to you, and usually, most people will be happy to explain what they've spent the majority of their life focusing on. I would ask the other writers in the studio for advice on my choice all the time, and it was all really helpful. I still apply a lot of the advice I got from my peers in choice I write today. You can also just ask people to play your music, and a lot of the time, as long as it works with their schedule, they will. Although usually you're at least expected to buy them pizza or something. As long as you don't write anything too crazy, you can usually get a pretty solid recording out of this, as pretty much everyone can read and everyone can play. And you don't have to have any recording equipment yourself either. As part of going to Foss, you get access to a few different recording studios, all for free? No additional cost at least. The two main ones being Foster 206 and Steve Guerra's office. You can also record at Week's recording studio, but that one requires a lot more paperwork. PLF 206 is reserved for studio jazz writing majors on the weekends from 2 p.m. onwards, and you can use Steve's office pretty much any time he isn't there, which is most afternoons. Although you can't really record more than 2 to 3 instruments in here at a time. You could probably fit an entire combo in here if you tried hard enough, but acoustically it would be unideal. So Steve's office is best for overdubbing, and PLF 206 is better for anything involving more than 1 to 2 musicians. And if you're wondering who actually does the recording, it'll most likely be your fellow studio jazz writing majors. A large part of the degree is doing recording sessions, which is where the studio part of the studio jazz writing comes in. Every Friday, one of MSJ's 34 different jazz ensembles plays a short set for the peers, and we're in charge of recording and streaming it to YouTube. This involves setting up the room how the players want it, setting up the microphones, sending them all to the Dante system, and making sure the captured sound is ideal for the live stream. While this might seem intimidating if you're coming in as a writer with no experience in music technology, it's really not that bad. You'll generally start with the easier tasks first, such as getting the correct microphones, setting up the room, and wrapping and unwrapping cables, until you've seen how the head engineers do it a couple times. And even when they ask you to engineer a session, the TAs will still be there to help you, so it's not bad at all. Coming in as someone with no music technology experience whatsoever, these aspects of the program are what enabled me to do a lot of what I do now. The Florida Man Big Band would not be nearly as successful if the program had not taught me how to record, mix, and write. This should really go without saying, but there's basically no way to go through this program and not come out a better writer, unless you don't follow any of the advice given to you, in which case why did you bother with this? The sheer amount of writing you'll do, and the quality demanded of you at all times, will basically demand that your ability to write improves as a result. You'll also get really good at writing music that fits the amount of rehearsal time you have, because if you write charts that are too hard to be played in the limited time allotted for rehearsal, they just won't get played. My first year at UM, I wrote 2 arrangements for the annual Studio Jazz Writing Christmas concert, and neither of them got played. They weren't bad, but when you have 10 minutes to rehearse each chart, you don't really have the time for the band to figure out how to play this. So it really forces you to be able to learn how to express your ideas in a way that can be learned in 10 minutes. If you don't do this, then either your chart gets cut entirely, or they make a new chart mid-rehearsal, getting rid of pretty much everything you wrote. It's never personal, it's just what's necessary for an ideal performance. However, the Studio Jazz Writing program does do a yearly collaboration concert with the top band, and here you can write pretty much anything you want. With 17 of Frost's top musicians, and rehearsal time, they can play basically anything. For example, what time signature is this in? If you guessed 3/4, that's correct. This is a chart they learned in 2 weeks for the aforementioned yearly collaboration concert, along with 5 or 6 other charts, and with maybe an hour of rehearsal time overall. So you are given the opportunity to let loose every now and then. And while you have to study jazz composition, as it's a jazz composition degree. There's actually a ton of flexibility in the other courses you're able to take. If you also want to work on film scoring, you can take that. If you want to work on jazz pedagogy, that's an option as well, along with songwriting classes on digital production, mixing, and even making music for video games. To be completely honest, it's very uncommon these days for anyone to make a career solely from writing jazz, so being able to take a course on any secondary interests you have is very helpful in this matter. Being one of the top music schools in the US, all of the faculty is incredible. In the second year of my master's, the leader of the big band I was in orchestrated one of the themes for Attack on Titan. The leader of the top big band has won 3 Grammys and been nominated 7 times, and also teaches the jazz composition class. This class completely changed the way I think about composition, and I still use ideas I learned in this class today. The professor of the studio jazz writing program, Steve Guerra, wrote 3 studio orchestra charts in 48 hours. To compare, my fastest time for an arrangement is currently 10 hours, with the arrangement being about 3 minutes long. Each of these charts were probably about 5 or 6 minutes long, and for studio orchestra, which is a big band, but then with even more instruments, and he did 3 of these. People say I write fast, but I won't agree with them until I've written 3 studio orchestra charts in 48 hours. In his lessons and classes, he really focuses on the fundamentals, not telling you how to write exactly how he does, but instead showing you how to best express your original ideas. Another advantage of Foss School of Music is the ability to write for and play with musicians you would have to be in an extremely advanced stage of your career to get to work with otherwise. Out of context, I can say I've played with Bruce Hornsby, John Cicada, Shelley Berg, written for Brian Lynch and Ashley Pizzati, and also played with Pat Metheny. You might think, wow, that's really impressive, until you realize that to do this I basically paid the equivalent of at least 1 super high level live 2D model, and that half of these people have no idea I exist. This isn't actually as bad as it seems though, as while getting to write for this level of clientele does create a lot of pressure, there's still a bit of a safety net. In the real world, if you give a client a chart with errors, chances are they'll never ask you to write for them again, and given the size of the mistake, they might tell their friends not to hire you either. But at Frost, usually you'll send charts to Steve and the TAs before the final version is sent off, so if there's any mistakes, they'll just tell you to fix that part. Much lower stakes. If you're late on a deadline in the real world, you're almost certainly not writing for them again, and again, they might tell other people. If you're late on a deadline in school, it might be okay. I really wouldn't recommend it, but the consequences vary a lot, and it definitely won't destroy your career in the same way. But the level of work is about the same as in the real world. There will be times when you'll have multiple huge projects due at the same time, and your only choice is to just accept that you'll be getting 2 hours of sleep that night. Projects will not wait for you, and you'll almost never get to schedule them in a convenient way, as you're doing the work for somebody else. This again is where that safety net comes in, as while your professors will probably be understanding if you have a lot of deadlines and need to push something back a couple days, but if you ask for an extension in the real world, a lot of the time, you'll probably be met with, wow, that's crazy, don't remember asking. During May, while making a Miku video every day, I was also transcribing an album for a client for his album release concert which was in about a month. Was I going to ask him, hey, can you reschedule your concert? I don't think that would have turned out well. But do all of these benefits outweigh this? If you can secure a TA spot, which gives you free tuition, a stipend, and even healthcare at the DMA level, it's definitely a yes. If you don't get one, then maybe? It really depends on what you get out of it and how big a scholarship you get. If you think going here will give you a clear path to eventually get out of that debt, take it. If you want to move to Miami permanently, this is one of the best ways to go about it, as school is one of the easiest ways to get connected with other musicians in your area. If you eventually want to teach at the college level, the brand name of Foss School of Music will help you stand out from all the other candidates. The common sentiment online seems to be music school sucks and is overpriced and you can learn everything taught there on your own or by taking lessons. And while I'm definitely not about to argue about it being overpriced, taking lessons just doesn't really offer the same kind of environment as being around other writers who care as much as you do, being forced to write constantly, and not just in the styles and ensembles you're used to. Before starting school at Frost, I was taking lessons from the previous director of the program, Gary Lindsay. Even if I had taken 2 years of lessons instead of my degree, my ability to write would have not been even close to what it is now. And learning on your own is even harder than that. There's such a massive amount of information out there. Where do you even begin? If only there was a channel whose main focus was composition and arranging. But anyways, while you can improve at writing without going at least 1 Haycock Bills in debt, it won't be nearly as fast. Do you go into debt for a greater possibility of getting gigs that would otherwise take you many, many years to land, Or do you play it safe and not spend a large part of your life paying off student loans? Personally, I'm more of the gambling type, but you should make the right decision for your financial situation. The degree is indeed just a piece of paper that won't get you any gigs, but what makes it worth it is the connections and the massive jump in skills you get during the degree. Maybe the real degree was the friends we made along the way.